family, and that's going to spread way quicker than just one transaction, no matter how good it is. And plus, it's riding on that one transaction.
Exactly, dude. Like, long term career wise, it's going to be more of a reach. And just now, yeah, of course, it's nice to have that $1 million listing and get that $30,000 to $60,000 commission. Great. Of course, that's going to be great. But then everything's riding on that. And like when I do become an agent, I'm going to be in a market to where the mid range is like Sacramento. The median home price is 400,000 out here, and that's perfect. And yeah, there's $1 million areas, and it'd be nice to have $1 million listing every now and then. But I just see myself more fitting into that range, and with prospecting, it's more realistic, to have more of that medium range. Because let's be honest, sometimes these people that are $1 million, $2 million, $3 million listings, they're not always the nicest people either.
They're really.
But it is what it is. And here's the thing: there's a lot of agents, brokers, and assistants targeting those leads. So imagine how much they get beat up. So it doesn't mean they're necessarily a bad an ass or a B, but sometimes that's just what I've noticed. Calling $1 million areas compared to mid-range areas, just the people are a little nicer.
Yeah, you're right. Like overall, yeah, you get some nice people, in the $1 to $2 million range. But yeah, when you're getting up to like 6, 7, 8, I mean, you're dealing with people that are that are obviously wealthy, and from at least my experience, wealthy people aren't usually very nice.
Yeah, and now they may be nice people, but when it comes to people cold calling them, they may not be so nice. A lot of them are very intelligent too, so it's kind of like a game to them when somebody cold calls them. Sometimes they're just screwing with you. You never know. But then sometimes you'll catch somebody like our buddy the other day that we're going to listen to, or the gentleman that lived in Bolinas that will talk to you. That even though they got a little bit of money, they're still they're still just like they're just still normal people. And a lot of this, dude, is prospecting. A lot of it's timing. Like, you can catch somebody one day and they may not be that nice of a person, and then, like, a week later, it could be completely different depending on what they have going on in their life.
Yeah.
Same thing with, okay, like, as an example, like, I've set appointments before, and then called back a week later, or had a really good call, maybe not an appointment, like something I figured, like, okay, if I call back next week and continue to follow up, then it's going to be something that eventually will be an appointment. But then call back and just things completely changed. Whatever they had going on in their life, like either they just weren't nice at all. Things happen, which is why also.
Yeah, that first house, I think that first day I was cold calling. I got an appointment at this place in Forestville. The lady was really nice and cool. I went and showed everything. I looked at the house and started setting up plans, and then I got on the call with her, and she was like, "Oh, well, never mind. My stager has a realtor, and I'm just going to do it with a stager. I don't want too many different people involved with the property. I want to just have it all one thing." She wants it to have a realtor who's a contractor, a stager, and everything in one.
Well,
and then like they upon me.
Yeah, somebody probably talked to her and then it sold it on her. They sold that idea of like all inclusive, and it sounded good to her. And then after she talked to you, and then she's like, well, yeah, I just don't want to deal with a bunch of people. Yeah, because somebody else, whoever spoke to her, like the way they presented it, it sold her.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take a quick look here. Yeah, somebody probably talked to her and was like, I got some feed. Got the audio on the live. All right. So you were pulling up your Red X. What were we going to look at?
Oh, we're going to look at what's
the follow up. Yeah, the follow ups, right?
Thought we were gonna read. We were gonna go. We're gonna listen to that recording
Yeah.
of the who cool. And then I want you to talk briefly about text messages. Like when you get calls in from Google Voice, because I get a lot of text messages. Like I get a call and then I'll text them and then I'll be like, hey, tell me, hey, I'm sorry, I'm on the phone with a client. I couldn't get your phone. And what property is this in regards to? And they'll be like, I'm returning your call. You called me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can talk about that too.
Something to talk about.
All right. So let's talk about Robert Foley, your call from a couple of days ago. Looks like you called him on, I'm just looking at the activity. You called him on the 26th, which would have been Monday. And he was a withdrawn listing. And the end result was you got him to agree to meet with you when he's back in town, right?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and play it real quick, and we'll talk about it a little bit. We've listened to this once before, but let's just do it again here, just so we can kind of pick it apart a little bit, and so you can get pumped up a little bit more, so you can go get more of these.
Yeah, buddy. Are we gonna do it when we're live?
Oh, we are live, Tommy.
Oh, you got it.
All right. Doing things a little bit different, making these coaching calls a little more realistic, and not really talking to the camera so much. I'm just gonna be talking to you.
Okay, sounds good to me.
Okay.
I apologize for the baby in the background. We've got a toddler running around the house. So.
Don't ever apologize for that, dude. Tommy, you're a family man. It's all good. Don't worry about the baby. The baby's just saying hi.
Cool. Dang, get another appointment.
That's gonna be your assistant.
Exactly.
All right, so guys, this is a call that Tommy made a couple of days ago. Spoke to a $1 million listing. It was listed at about 1.5. Withdrawn. The seller has agreed to meet with Tommy when he gets back into town. Let's take a listen to the call and just kind of see how it went. All right, let's play it.
Bob Foley. Hey there, this is Tommy Quinn with Cobalt Banker. How you doing today?
Great.
Look, I'm calling about your Montego property in Novato. I've seen it was withdrawn after 68 days, and I'm just curious if you guys are still trying to get it sold.
I'm sorry.
The way you opened that up, perfect. You introduced yourself. You paused. You asked him how he was doing. Let him respond. You told him exactly what you were calling about the withdrawn listing. Just on point, and your timing is just much more on point, and the pauses, I can tell you've been working on that.
Yes, I have. I'm trying to work on the ums too. The ums is just it comes out, because it's my way of thinking out loud, I guess. But I'm working on it.
I do it all the time, and the only way you just got to be conscious of it, and I do it as well when I'm thinking out loud, and what it comes down to is just more repetition, so you don't really have to think about it as much, and you're just ready to go,
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't hear you.
Calling about your property in Novato, and I've seen it was listed for sale. I'm just curious if you're still trying to get it sold.
I would like to sell it, yes.
Okay, well...
Boom, now he knows why we're calling. Now he knows, and he told you, yes, I'd like to sell it, and this is when it's going to get fun here. Let's take a listen.
Well, it was on the market for 68 days. What happened?
I don't know. I actually fired the realtor after 3 weeks.
Really?
And that's exactly what you want to do with these withdrawals, cancels, and expireds. Saw it came off the market. What happened? And there's many different ways you can say that what happened, but the main thing is you're saying that it came off the market. You're asking the seller what he thinks happened. And this guy, Robert, Bob, whatever his name is, has told us right off the bat, I fired that guy, blah, blah, blah. So as the agent, broker, assistant calling on this, that's a green light to continue on with the call, because that's what we're looking for with these off-market listings. Okay, good job, Tommy. Let's keep listening.
Did you guys get any offers on it?
Yes.
And, did the agent give you guys any feedback as to, what he or she thought might have happened?
First, it was kind of like pulling teeth, but I've listened to this before. The guy opens up to Tommy, but I can tell you're just kind of like didn't really know where to go at certain points, and just kind of like okay. And then you had to ask him again. Okay, did you get any feedback? And that's good. You know, if it's kind of a silence, if it's not going the direction you want it to go, you just take a step back and then you ask another question, like you did.
Not really.
Interesting. Well, I was wondering, you're not going to do anything unless it makes sense, but if you got the right offer, what were the original plans?
I didn't get the right offer.
If you did, what would be your original plans? You guys going to be moving out of the area? Are you guys just trying to sell the house? Is it an investment property?
I would be moving to San Diego.
Moving to San Diego. Okay, and I see, is that plan still the plan if possible?
Yes.
All right, well, you said your name was Robert?
Yes.
I guess, here's my thought. I might be able to stop by the home one day and I can quickly share you some new information that, would cause your home to actually sell, because you're not going to do anything unless it makes sense, right?
That's right.
Okay, well, I can pop by one day, take a look at the home, and make some recommendations, and from there you could have some information to use for the future if you do decide to ever sell. And then you'll decide what makes sense. Fair enough?
Where is your office located?
My office is located in Petaluma.
Okay. We're just getting ready to go on vacation today, so...
Okay. When would you
will
be,
back. We'll be back in 3 weeks.
You'll be back in 3 weeks. Okay, and would you, would you be open to me stopping by and just kind of giving you some recommendations and show you a step-by-step strategy, I would use to get the house sold?
In 3 weeks, yes.
Fantastic.
Boom! I like how you're being very clear with what you're trying to do here. When we listen to, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So I'm trying to stop, like what you said, because I listened to some of my calls, and you're right. I asked them a question, and then it's like a multiple choice answer, or a question where I ask them one question, followed up with like 2 or 3 other questions, and I don't even. Then the call goes off in some direction that is tough to deal with, and so I'm trying to really just get the point, ask the question, get the answer, and move on. Because like now that I'm having more conversations, getting through 200 calls will take me 3 hours. I used to be able to get through 100 calls an hour, and now it's taking me longer. And so I'm just trying not to waste anyone's time and just get the point on to the next.
Exactly, dude. And it's pretty much not night and day, but there's a huge difference in your skill level now compared to where it was with that call with that guy in Bolinas a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
You're pausing, you're asking questions, you're allowing them to talk and not talking over them. When you ask a question, you're not just giving them that multiple choice like you said, but you're actually letting them talk. And sometimes you're gonna have that uncomfortable silence, but that just means you gotta keep it. You just gotta just let the silence be, and just wait for the seller to respond. Unless they didn't hear you, then you ask again. But you can tell that he was just kind of thinking there for a moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so let's keep
I
it.
appreciate it.
Yep, let's keep it playing.
Fantastic. All right, well, how about I give you a call in 3 weeks and check in, and we'll go from there. And I'll, stop by and show you what I have to offer.
That would be good.
All righty. Well, I will give you a call in 3 weeks. And
The other agent wanted me to stage the house.
The only thing that I would have done different, because I've listened to this call, we listened to it before. The only thing I would have done different, since he seems like he's willing to talk to you, seems like he's willing to meet with you, I would have locked that appointment in.
Yeah.
Even if it's 3 weeks from now, I would have said, well, let's do this, Robert. While I got you on the phone, looking at my calendar, that would be the second week of November. How about I can pencil you in for Monday the 8th or whatever day it is, or what day will you be back? Find out when he'll be back, and then just set the appointment. And then when you get back into town, we can confirm that still works, or if something changes, you can let me know by email, however you want to put it. But this way, you're locking in the appointment. You're going to put it on your calendar. he's probably going to make note of it as well, compared to just I'm going to give you a call. And this is one of your first like real solid appointments that you got with a $1 million property. So it's fine. But in the future, treat it just, I mean, when you're talking to these folks, talk to them just like they're $300,000, $400,000 property, you know? And that's how you're going to start getting some more of these big ones. But the guy's talking to you, he gives you all good information, and then he goes on and talks a lot about the past agent and things he didn't like, and that's great stuff. But the fact is that he's already agreed to meet with you. You, instead of just leaving it open to like, okay, I'll call you in 3 weeks, just go for the appointment. He would have set the appointment, and then you could have just followed up to confirm that would work.
Very true.
Okay. And you didn't stage it because
I have no intention of moving things around.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'd have to see what the inside of the house looks like before moving forward. But we recommend, especially a house that's $1 million and up, to be staged in some cases because pictures say 1,000 words, and in most cases mean thousands of dollars. And staging just initially makes it look nicer in a way for pictures, because pictures is the first thing people are going to look at, and if they don't like what they see in the pictures, they're not even going to waste their time and go look at the property. But that being said, I'd have to see what the inside of the house looks like to begin with.
You just want to be very careful with that you're kind of tiptoeing there, because he's told you that he didn't want to stage it with the past agent, and you're basically trying to resell him on why you would stage it, which is dangerous, because you're risking him possibly just canceling the whole thing because you're attempting to sell him on what he didn't want to do with his last agent, right?
Yeah.
And that would be something, if I were you, that I would wait until I get face-to-face to talk about. In most cases, yes, we know that you're going to want to stage this property, but overcome that hurdle when you get to that point. Right now, you're just trying to overcome the hurdle of getting a face-to-face appointment. And so, it didn't kill it, but basically you're trying to resell him on something. One of the reasons why he fired his past agent.
Sure. Listening to avoid it, but when you're in the
But that was it.
First of all, it's copy. I didn't expect there to be an appointment from this call the way it went, and it just kind of all of a sudden opened up, and
Well,
we got to work on.
Yeah, and listen, every single call you have, expect it. Expect it to be something that's going to be going on calendar. Assume it. And the way you're going to be able to start doing that is just by setting more appointments. But you're assuming that they want to meet with you. You're assuming all of this is going to go your way. And when you start having that mindset, then you're going to start getting even better results. And because then you're going to start talking like that, you're assuming the close instead of just like maybe hoping that you'll go for it. It's just going to start becoming naturally, and then you're going to be setting more and more appointments because you're using assumptive language compared to what you're using now. And because a lot of this, like we talked about before, a lot of it's mindset. A lot of it's simple things that you say, the way you say them, the words you use. May not seem that important, but that stuff it's definitely important, because a lot of cold calling is psychological and it's emotional. Like, he gave you some good information. He told you that he wasn't happy with his past agent. He told you that he's going to be moving to San Diego. So he gave you the motivation. He told you he doesn't want to work with his past agent. That's all good stuff. And then the next 10 minutes, he goes on to talk about what he didn't like about his past agent. So when you go back and meet with this guy, and when you talk to him next, I hope you've listened to this call a few times and know it inside and out, so that way you have all of the ammo you need, you and your partner, when you go on this appointment, to be able to walk away with that listing.
Yeah. No, we're going to definitely sit down together and listen to it more than a few times before even attempt. I'm going to have a listen to before I even call him back in 3 weeks, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, I've listened to this a few times. I would know this conversation like the back of my hand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, dude, and that's good. That's one of the reasons why I made sure that you were recording your calls, not just for our call reviews, but for your own purpose.
Really glad you recommended that, man, because so it's like you said, it's ammo going into the listing appointment, because now I know his motives as to why he ended up firing his last agent. What I need to do different to not only stand out, but exceed his expectations, and not repeat what his last agent did.
And I don't know, but you're going to find out when you get over there. But that property, maybe it will need to be staged, and that'll be something that you and your partner will have to figure out how to overcome. Because when it comes to getting, I mean, yeah, you want to get the listing, but you don't want to just get a listing to get a listing. You want to get a listing to sell it.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes some sellers, they just won't do certain things that it will take for their property to sell in the market. And really, even though you want that listing, it may not be, sometimes that would just mean sometimes that these sellers aren't as motivated as they make it seem, because they won't do things that you advise, like pricing, like how to price it right, or how to stage the property, things like that that are required for the property to sell. Because yeah, he may not have been too happy with his agent, but maybe he was being a difficult seller. Maybe this agent wasn't all this agent's fault. And you have to, when you go into this, keep all of these factors in mind, because you have his story, but what really happened may be something completely different.
Sure.
And you'll find out when you get over there and when you talk to him again. And when you get over there, I hope it goes well. I hope he takes your advice, and I hope you guys get the listing and sell it. But it's also going to be a huge learning experience from you either way. This whole process, just like every day, every day in your career right now, since you're so new, it's all going to be stuff that you use for your long term. So. Good job on setting this appointment, and this is definitely a lot of progress from when we started working together. You're just the way you're talking, your pauses, the clarity. It's just night and day, and you're definitely getting much better. I mean, that not really comes down to, bro, is you're in there every single day. You're cold calling. You got personal stuff in your life going, but you're making this a priority. You're putting in the work, and if you continue to do that, you're going to start seeing small results like this, and the small results you're going to start getting more and more, and eventually, it's going to be you're going to have closed transactions, and then you're going to look back at this 6 months from now and be like, okay, good stuff, like I've came a long way, and you just keep on going.
Keep on going, keep on expanding, keep on working, and like you said, even when I get to a point where I do start taking listings and do start closing deals, it's not a time to slow down. It's a time to, pick up the pace and find a way to expand.
Exactly.
Keep the ball rolling.
Yep. So, walk me through what you've done with Foley since you spoke to him as far as follow-up.
So, it was actually quite interesting. I told him, because, the call went on for about 15 minutes. After that, after what we just listened to, it talked about what the realtor did, and, it was, like I said, a 16-minute call. And so
did you just let him talk?
I just let him talk and just,
good.
Listened and took it all in. And when I hung up the phone, before I hung up the phone, I tell him, okay, expect an email from me sometime today, and, we'll stay in touch. And if I can do anything for you in the meantime, feel free to reach out.
Okay.
When I'm on the phone, I still continue my cold calls because I'm trying to save time, and I write down the addresses that I'm going to be putting in my CRM and or writing thank you cards to. And at the end, I go back and type in that address and find it and put it in a nurture folder. And then when I went to go put it in my CRM, our website was down for that day because every 180 days, half a year, our password resets. And so the system was down at that time. And then instead of just waiting the next day for it to reload, because I did tell him I was going to send him an email that day, I just shot him a direct email, saying, here's my email, in the email signature is all my information, yada, yada. And then the next day I was able to log in all of his information and then sent him an email with login information to my website, and then wrote him a thank you card, sent that off with my business card in it.
So walk me through, and for the folks watching, what you're doing with that thank you card.
Thank you card will say, hey, Robert, this is Tommy Quinn over at Coldwell Banker Realty. Thank you for taking time out of your day to chat about said property. I look forward to meeting you and showing you what I have to offer. I hope you enjoy your vacation. Sincerely, Tommy Quinn, with my business card in it, and I handwrite it all, and I handwrite. Some people have stamps for their address, things like that. Like I handwrite it all.
Good.
So I think that's a lot more. It stands out more.
It does, dude, and I know that's something new. I mean, this is all new to you, but that's something new that I suggested you incorporate. And really, what it's doing is it's just separating you from what other people in your market will do. And
Exactly.
you're gonna look back at that 5 years, 10 years from now, and be like, okay, I'm glad I did that. And people will bring it up, and you'll have people and that you do business with, and you go over to their house, they finally give you a listing appointment, and you're gonna walk in, you're gonna probably see your thank you card like on the counter or on the bulletin board or something. You'll be like, oh, okay, that's cool,
Yeah.
That stuff will start happening, and it's just little things, man. And so, have you sent it? You ended up sending him an email the next day, you said?
Yeah, so I sent him just an email directly, because like when I put it in my CRM and type in his name, his address, his email, it'll send off an email. Like there's a default email that says like, oh hey, I signed you up on my site. You have full access to homes in the market now. I kind of personalize each one. I'll put his name like, hey Robert, this is Tommy following up. You have access to my site, and then at the bottom of it, I'll say, if there's anything I can do to help out, please, feel free to reach out at any time.
Okay.
Sincerely, my name. And I logged in his information and it just wouldn't load it up. So then I just went into my direct email and sent him off an email saying, hey, thanks for the chat today. Look forward to meeting you, and have fun on your vacation. And then it did have all my information. In my email signature, it has all my information. And then the following day, I was able to plug him into my CRM and send that off to him. So he actually got 2 emails from me.
Well, I know he's on vacation, but do you know if he's opened up your email at all?
I don't think so, because if he opens up my email, it logs into my site, and I get notifications. Anybody who is on my website, so I don't think so.
Okay.
And his email had 2020 in it, so it's almost like he just made this email recently, like this year. Maybe specifically to help get his house sold. I don't know, but he's kind of a finicky guy. He's ex-military, so I want to be careful not to piss him off and ruin the appointment. So I am gonna wait till he's done with his vacation and just keep hitting the dialer. Because actually, I'm following up with someone else right after the election about a listing in Vacaville, which is going to hopefully turn into a listing appointment and turn into a listing. And so I'm just because I have a listing in the pipeline doesn't mean the cold call stop.
Yeah, well, I would just consider that a hot lead in the pipeline. Just be very realistic with that. That could just be a hot lead right now.
Yeah.
Because it's not anything until it's something.
Exactly.
It's a good conversation you had. It's a good opportunity, but it's just something that you just got to keep stacking on top of.
Exactly.
So let's talk about for rent by owners briefly. For rent by owners is a target that you're going after in Red X, and basically, guys, if you're just watching this, for rent by owners is basically you're calling investors, you're calling property owners that have their property for lease. And Red X has a service to where they'll scrub these sites like Craigslist, Zillow, different places, and create a lead. And as the agent, you're basically calling the investor or the landlord to see if they consider selling, if the numbers made sense. And the call is real simple. You really shouldn't overcomplicate it, but it's just in a lot of times it's just a good change of pace compared to expires and FSBOs, to where you're calling. It's not really like a business to consumer call. It's more of a business to business call, and it's just real straightforward and to the point. And it's a numbers thing. If you speak to enough of these investors, you're gonna find some that would be open to at least letting you run the numbers and then going over it with them. And that's all you're looking to do is somebody that's open to looking at the CMA, and if the numbers made sense, they'd consider selling at some point. And again, they have it up for rent because that's in their mind what they're planning on doing. However, that does not mean that as a business person that they wouldn't consider selling if the numbers made sense. At the end of the day, it all comes down to the numbers. Now, Tommy was telling me that some of the people he's talking to just aren't very nice, and that's okay. You're going to run into that. A lot of times, like I said, we're cold calling them out of the blue to try to get them to sell when they have it up for lease. So it's kind of like in their face, like, okay, well, I know you're renting it, but do you want to sell it? But the thing is, if you do that enough, just like any other lead target, you're going to get some that are open to at least seeing what the numbers look like. And then out of those people, you're going to get a few here and there that will be willing to let you list the property. But you don't get it unless you make those dials. So tell me a little bit about your experience so far with the for rent by owners, Tommy.
I don't do many for rent by owners just because, like, the more areas you do, it adds on to your monthly bill at RedX. And, I really do have not the biggest budget. A lot of it is going toward this RedX subscription, which is probably the best money spent as a new realtor. But that being said, every now and then, every couple of weeks, I go back into the for rent by owners because the new, more of them load up. There's usually maybe 20 to 30 of them all in there, and I'll run through them. And a lot of them are, some of them are owned by a real estate company or owned by a real estate broker, which is fine. You just have a little conversation with them and, hang up the phone. And a lot of them I ran into lately, or at least my last for rent by owner call, the phone number they have there is like a Zillow associated phone number. Or
Hot pads?
Called like hot pads, yeah. So, once you hear that opener from Hot Pads, you just click and on to the next. And, every now and then you owners, and the few that I talked to were, not interested, to say the least. But then I talked to one of them who wants me to run the numbers on the house and see if she has a realtor, she says. Everyone says they have a realtor, but, anyways, she said she has a realtor, and if she went to sell right now, the realtor told her she would lose $40,000 on the home. So, just for fun, just gonna run a CMA on it. It's good practice for me, and I still put her in my database, and I still sent her a thank you card. And
is that Jana Zimmerman?
Yeah.
All right, let's listen to Jana Zimmerman. And like I said, yeah, a lot of them are gonna be, middle finger up onto the next, but here and there you'll run into a person like this that is open to at least talking a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Hello?
Hey there, this is Tommy Quinn with Coldwell Banker Realty. How you doing today?
Good.
Good. Look, I saw your property for lease on 2978 Yalupa Avenue, Santa Rosa, and I'm curious if it's available.
Is it available? Yeah.
Great. Well, look, I'm just calling to find out, because market's really hot right now, and I'm just curious if you'd ever consider selling the home.
Yes, but it's really, I don't know if you can see what I paid for it and what the houses are going for in here right now. 3 years ago, I paid $366.5, and now they're going for $305 to $320.
Okay, well, sorry, go ahead.
I'm not gonna lose $40,000. I've got a realtor that I've worked with for the last 3 years, and she just said you're best off renting it because you're gonna take a loss of at least $40,000.
Interesting. Well, did she give you, up-to-date market updates and things like that about current conditions going on?
Yeah, why don't you tell me what you think it's worth?
Okay, well, if you don't mind, maybe I could do a quick analysis on the property, see what you could get for it, and then...
And that's exactly what you want them to say. Yeah, they might be a little snazzy in your face, but that we're dealing with business people. This isn't like calling a homeowner an expired or a FSBO, but that's what you want. You got, if somebody's like, well, let's see what you're going to do, because that's what she, if the numbers make sense, she's going to do something. Let's just continue listening.
And, email the results, and, would that work?
Yeah, take a look with some, for some reason this golden tee is way down in value. I live over in Knowles, and everything is 100,000 plus.
Sure.
And over here, it is down $40,000. So that's why I was going to rent.
Okay.
I have somebody coming.
So she doesn't have renters in there yet, it sounds like.
Uh-huh.
I'd get on that CMA really quick, bro.
What was that?
I'd get on that CMA really quick because she doesn't have renters in there yet, and if the numbers make sense, she'd consider selling.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm here in about 5 minutes the first person's coming in about 5 minutes to take a look at it. To rent, but they still have to fill out the application and do all that kind of stuff. But yeah, go ahead and do an analysis and email it over to me. You got my email address?
I don't, so I'll take that down real quick. I'm ready when you are.
Cafe, C8.
Yeah, dude. Who cares if she says she have a realtor or not? Who cares? At this point, her realtor is losing out because if the numbers make sense, and you're going to find that out by doing a quick CMA, what would it take you, like half an hour?
20 minutes.
Okay.
I'm actually on it right now.
Yeah, dude. Do the numbers, and if she mentions that a realtor, don't even pay it attention. Just here's the thing: if the numbers make sense, her realtor's missing out, dude. Like this is your deal because she said straight up, run the numbers, email them over to me. I'd email them and call her, and if they make sense, and if not, still email them over to her and say I'd like to keep in contact.
Yeah. Exactly.
And who cares if she has somebody she's done business with before? That person, if they're taking care of their clients, that it may be true what she's saying. But if I were you, yeah, I'd run those numbers quick and just see if it makes sense, and just put them in front of her face, and then tell her ask you. So what do you think? You ready to get this property sold? And it may be something now, or it may be something in 12 months when that lease is up.
Very true, but at least something, it shows that I care and that I'm, putting in the work.
It also you're creating a relationship because she's in the market. She has other properties. You're establishing yourself as one of her go-to realtors that she would do business with.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Like, get that CMA done, email it over to her, call her, and just go over it with her while on the phone. Don't just email it and wait for her to reach out. Just call her and just go over it with her. Even if it's low, like that agent said, even if it is, fine. Establish a relationship. Get her to like you. Show her that you're a hard worker. And that's something that could be, if not a deal now, a deal at some point in your career.
Yeah, very true. Building a relationship, because that's really what real estate is. Building relationships.
How many for rent by owner calls did it take before you found her?
10.
That's nothing, dude. That's nothing. And yes,
I don't think I have a big subscription for rent by owners. I think it's for each different county and area. It's another $20.
And how much are you paying now? 20.
I think I'm paying 40. I'm calling for 2 areas.
Well, what is that area? What is the price point in that area? 400,000, 500,000?
Probably 500.
Okay,
550.
Dude, it's. I mean, one deal it's gonna pay for 2 years, 3 years, 10 years of that shit. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Your commission on that's gonna be 10 grand. Not saying you're gonna get this deal, but it just takes a couple of deals for Red X to be more than paid for itself.
Exactly. That's very true.
And you're budget conscious because you're new, and that's a reality of where you are in your business, which is why, like you said earlier, Red X is the smartest investment you can make if you're using it. And as long as you're converting, which you're going to start doing, Red X could cost $1,000 a month, and it wouldn't matter. You're going to continue to pay that $1,000 a month because it's working.
Yeah, no,
100%. There are some realtors that they get these systems and they just don't use them. They buy that hammer and think the fence is going to build itself. No, it doesn't work like that, man. You gotta put in the work. Otherwise, there's no point in. That's why the failure rate's so high in real estate, because some realtors, they get their license and they're just misinformed. They think they're just going to walk into the easy cake, and that's just not a reality. That's why so many people after 2-3 years, leave the business, is because they're not willing to put in the work to be able to take control of their business like you're doing right now.
you gotta put in the work. It's gotta be consistent. You know, and like there'll be times where like I'm not ever discouraged, but I'll be like a little tired. I'm like, oh, it'll be easier just to like watching TV for a little bit, and like I'll just throw on like a motivational like YouTube video, like watch a video of like a top producer in LA or gets me pumped up because all these guys have rhythm and consistency. They have the same routine they do every single morning. Get up, breakfast, coffee, meditate, work out, and go to the office. And everyone's system's going to be different, but you got to stay in a rhythm and stick with it.
Yeah, straight up, dude. Because I'm looking at, you're right, dude. It has to be an everyday thing, and I compare it all the time to sports. Like, these pro athletes, like, yeah, some of them were born with natural talent, but they put in the work, man. Like, when I played sports, like, it's that repetition over and over and over. Simple things like the time you wake up in the day to the time you prospect, the time you talk to your mentors, everything like that. It's all important. I don't know how accurate Zillow is, but that property on Yalupa you're looking at, looks like she bought it in 2017 for $366,500.
I'm looking at this thing right now, actually, where she got 366.5.
And just so you know, it looks like if that's the realtor she's talking about, looks like that office is out of Placerville, Remax Gold Placerville, which is up here in Sacramento, dude. She's not even a specialist down there.
Really?
Because Zillow is accurate with some stuff, like the price and tax history. It's usually always accurate. And it says she bought it in June of 2017. And the listing agent was Remax Gold in Placerville, and that's like 30 miles east of Sacramento, and you guys are about 100 miles the other way.
Yeah.
Just as at a quick glance, what the numbers look like? Can you see anything?
Yeah, I can see it. It's a little condo. It looks nice. And, with pictures, it's 2 bed, 2 bath, built in '71, a little over 1,000 square feet, all updated, tile floors. It's not a bad property, actually. I mean,
how much does the system you're using just give you a number, or do you have to compare comps?
It's a system that compares comps and. Like I type like a lot of them out. I can get the listing number from MLS, crank it in. It pulls up all the information, so I have to type it in. Like it'll give me the square foot, bed, bath, parcel number, year built, lot size, HOA dues, and anything else, the remarks, and then it will compare comparable properties, both active, sold, and pending. Given the year with a little bit of a calculation on inflation and that sort of thing and how the market's going, and then crank out a number.
Dude,
so
I have a feeling that this property is worth about $620, $630, and I think that realtor who advised her is out of their mind, because if this lady only paid $366,500 for it, there's $200-$300 of equity in this property.
Yeah, but I'm looking at comparables right now, like, 2 bed, 2 bath, same square footage, the same condos, like 2976 on Yalupa, 305, 315.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 333, 322.
That's what they sold for?
Yeah, that's what they're selling. This one's selling 2 bed, 1 bath, 964 square feet. 359.
That one's a little smaller. Yeah. Well, I don't know, and that's something that's your job, and that's that's you. I'm not. That's not my forte. So either way, though, if the numbers still don't make sense for her to sell, still shoot her the CMA, still have a conversation with her, and continue to keep in contact with her for if and when she's ready to do something. And who cares if she says she has somebody in mind? That's probably just who she bought the house from, and that agent probably just kept in contact with her. That's all.
Yeah, true. Very true.
One thing to also follow up, like when they say I have an agent, anybody you're talking to, for rent by owner, expire, FSBO, get to talking to them. And since they're not going to always give you this information, be like, oh, okay, who's your agent? It's kind of one of those difficult questions. But there's nothing wrong with asking that. It's a professional question, you know. It's not like you're calling them out on a lie. You just want to know who their agent is. And then, you know, that way you know, because, or not necessarily, if they don't want to give that information, another way to ask is, okay, well, oh, you have an agent? Okay. How did you come in contact with your agent, or if it expired? You know, how did you end up getting in contact with Joe initially? How did you find him? You know, so that way you have an idea if it's a friend or a family or a referral, or if it was somebody that she found off a cold call. Like, that's always good information to have, like, with Robert, you know, asking him, oh, well, how did you find this guy? Because he's already bad-mouthing him. So how'd you come across working with him to begin with? You know, so that way you have that information too.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap this call up with Tommy. Tommy, I thank you for taking a little bit of time out, and keep doing what you're doing, man. You're on the right path.
Yeah, dude, that's the goal. Just going to keep on to the next, you know?
That's right, on to the next. And, guys, if you need any help with your coaching and your training, get better at your cold calls. That's what I'm here for now, power prospecting. If you're a high-producing realtor who's ready to delegate your cold calling and prospecting, you're doing at least 3 transactions a month now, we can talk about that as well. I'm Jeremy Marquez, jmarqeting. We call, you close, more real estate listings, and now power prospecting. Have a good day, guys. Tommy, hold on 1 minute, okay, buddy?
Yeah, you got it, man.